Okay. Ooh. Okay. 3, 2, 1. On to 4, which is I'm already back at it. Okay. 3, 2, 1. And that goes on now on to that goes on to now that over there that is a 4. Uh okay, so 3, 3, 2, 1. Onto 4, which is the House of Wolves from Destiny 1. The second DLC for Destiny 1 being the better of the first two DLCs, in my opinion. Because 1, the story actually has a villain. As before, with Destiny 1's vanilla campaign, it had the Blob. And in Dark Below, it had Crow's Crystal, and you fight him in the raid. Um, which is better. But it wasn't great. This one, you actually know who the bad guy is. You know who the bad guy is, and you actively are trying to hunt him throughout the mission. So it kind of set up a Aldrin scenario from Forsaken, but kind of not at the same time. Despite that, the story was okay. Added a new faction, which was the first time. Well, I say faction, it was that it added new colors to an enemy, which was kind of the first time they kind of did that. And with that as well, they also added the Prison of Elders, which, if you remember my previous thing for the April update, that carried that update pretty high onto the list. And it's also the reason why it's also the reason why House of Wolves is also this high on the list. Because it added the Prison of Elders. By far, if you ignore basically all raids, dungeons, whatever, I would like Prison of Elders back, or a Prison of Elders like thing. Because I just loved it personally. Where you just go in there and you had 4 different types of enemies, because back then there was only 4 types of enemies. There was only Fallen, Cabal, Hive, and Vex. Definitely didn't almost forgot about that one. But you go in there and you have different tasks like dismantling mines, and at the very end you have to fight uh, an enemy specific enemy. Oh, my enemies! All I want to have my just not. Anyway, and Pacific. Ah, think. Pacific enemy type. No. And have a specific enemy race boss. Where there's one for the Vex, one for the Hive, and on so on. And then if you did the really hard version, you will have to fight Skolos, who I would argue was as hard or harder than some raid bosses at the time. However, he stands up to there now. That's a personal preference, but if you fought him and completed him, you had the chance to get 3 exotics, which back then there was only the one exotic from each dungeon or raid. There was no dungeons. He got 3, being 2 of them that have actually returned in Destiny 2, being Queen's Breaker and the shotgun. that one. But there was also a sidearm, which was the first time sidearms were ever added into Destiny, which was called the Dreg's Promise, and has yet to return in Destiny. And I feel that's one of the biggest injustices when it comes to exotics from Destiny 1, personally. Like, the Hothead's cool, but give us the Dreg's Promise. Well, at least give me it, personally. Or not personally. Not bitter about that one. It's the only exotic I got from that as well, and He never returned. Anyway, besides that, Skolos had a pretty cool theme music, which doesn't make everything, but it's pretty cool. And yeah, I guess it carries most of that. Also, they added trials during this DLC. So if you ever had a night where you've just been playing trials and you either have the greatest time of your life or you want to throw your head through a brick wall, you can thank House of Wolves for that one. Anyway, I think this is a very deserving spot onto the penultimate to the podium finishers. Anyway, on to the next one. Okay, 3, 2, 1. On to number 3, being Season of the Haunted from Destiny 2. Season of the Haunted is a season, as the name suggests, and you're probably thinking, this is the top 3 now. Should be where like the DLC should be, Well, I would argue this is a really good top 3, the top third place, because it has the best story out of all the seasons, in my opinion. It has a new destination, kind of, more than what other ones have done though, and has its own like plethora of weapons, story, and backstory for 3 pretty cool characters, being Keitel with Gol, he's back, Zavala's wife, and the Crow with Aldrin, because himself. Um, all of them have pretty good stories. They kind of elaborate on the characters, but like Crow being kind of coming to terms with himself being this crow person, but also learning from the mistakes that Alderaan made during his life, which, there's some meaning behind that. And then there was Zavala with his wife, where he had this trauma with his son. They had this adoptive son, who unfortunately died, and he never really let go. So he got over that. Well, I don't say he got over it, but he was able to like not have that pain affect him so much anymore, if that's the best way to put it. And then Keitel was tormented by Gol. Keep mixing the names up. By Gol because she wasn't quite sure if she was good enough to be the leader of the Cabal, because at the time, Gol looked like he was the best leader for the Cabal, and he screwed the pooch. But with further ado, all the stories were great, and it ended to one of my favourite boss fights in the entire game, where you fight Callus, which, for the record, I mentioned earlier about a form of Callus being better than the one I mentioned earlier. Yeah, this version. It's not. I would say this is better than the one we get in Lightfall because, well, he's just better, and also you get more about his backstory in the dungeon that comes with the season, where you also fight Keitel, which is probably the closest way I'm going to do to fighting Keitel, which is pretty cool. And it's just so cool to go to the Leviathan again, which actually becomes a sort of location. It's only really a location where you do like a couple of the missions, but you can also go there and explore, where it's really just like a thing for events. So whether you think that's a proper location, that's up to you. But I feel that it's leaps above what some other seasons do, personally, which isn't that much. It's kind of the closest one I can think of is maybe Season of the Splicer, where they added that little area for the Fallen of House of Light. But then again, that was not really its own area. We could shoot enemies, explore really good. So that's kind of an honorable mention there. But like I said, this one's shine personally to me because I found the Leviathan pretty cool, despite saying it was not great compared to other dungeons and raids. But seeing how it changed with Callus's descent into darkness and madness was pretty cool to see. And the way the story ends pretty well is probably one of the most heart-touching and best cutscenes I've seen in the game, where Aldrin kind of said, or Crow says goodbye to Aldrin, or Aldrin gives an approving like nod to Crow as kind of like a passing of the torch. Goal kind of just disappears, and Zavala's wife get to say their goodbyes, and then that's that. But yeah, obviously, in terms of season 2, I think it's the most well knit, pretty good season they've had ever, and I don't think any other season in Destiny has ever come close to it. So, with that, let's move on to. Right. Stop. Okay. 3, 2, 1. On to number 2, which might surprise some people, is the Taken King. Some people would even easily put this in their first spot on their lists, but I put this on a second, and you'll see why later. Taken King is without doubt the best DLC from Destiny 1, and you can't tell me otherwise. Oryx was such a cool villain, despite not really knowing much about him if you don't look into the lore. When he comes out, he just owes the coolness that, like I said, made Gold cool. But Oryx was being Oryx. Also, he introduced the Taken, which is the Taken King. So there was that whole shabocco they've added in, and also they were really terrifying when they first came in. Now they're kind of a borderline joke, in my opinion. But back then they were a genuine threat when Eris first came in with the ball and put it over Cayde's map. She said that wherever you kill, it could replace. That was haunting and perfect. Also, this is the story where Cayde gained a personality, which was great. He was easily the most hilarious character and my favorite character, without a doubt. But it was also, I love how interconnected the story is with the previous two. Well, two. More with Dark Below, because, well, the whole reason he's here, and because you killed his son in the first DLC, Crota, as you probably might remember the name. But here's a little kicker. You go back down to Crota's little nest where you destroyed his crystal in that story, which is, again, pretty cool. And then he takes the ogre that's protecting his son's corpse. But then he also takes another person later on, like, oh, those two people were interesting, and they do pop up. The ogre does pop up straight after him. He's probably just doing that one time move. Nope, in the final mission, when you go up to Oryx, he actually summons them back in as two, like, mini bosses, which is pretty cool. The Cabal get a pretty good elaboration to the story, which is pretty good. They weren't anywhere as big as they are now in Destiny 2. The Cabal were definitely probably the most underdeveloped race in Destiny 2, Destiny 1. But there was definitely the signs, and it was also referenced and foreshadowed the Cabal's rise in Destiny 2's vanilla campaign. When you do a mission, I believe it's an optional mission as well, in Destiny 1's Taken King mission, I believe it was an optional mission, where you get, basically, your ghost tells you they were trying to send a signal out into somewhere to their leader or emperor, which is, Goal appeared, who wasn't quite the emperor, but then Kellex did appear after, so you can interpret it. But also, a cool little thing as well, they kind of did this with the Cabal in Destiny 2, but with Taken and Oryx and the Taken King, back in Destiny 2's original release, with the Shrine to Oryx, where they said they would call it communing with some kind of god or king, which Oryx is a hive god, and he's the Taken King, so. And also the place is literally called the Shrine of Oryx, so what can you do? The Dreadnought, I wouldn't say it's my favourite place. It's definitely better than some other places. It's really cool. It's basically just imagine what the Hive homeworld will look like, but just in a ship. That's basically that. Also with a huge Cabal ship crashed into it, and you can go on that Cabal ship as well. So it's basically that. whole dynamic with the location. Oryx's room. Also, fun enough fact, they also reference Nokris from Warmind, who is Oryx's son, who exiled. Where they have 3 statues. They had one to Crota, where it says, well, this is from Crota, wherever. One to Oryx, and then one to Nokris, who was the statue was completely destroyed and the name was removed. So kind of gave you this idea there was another child that Oryx didn't like. So there was also that, and then we found out later it was Nokris, and because he brought back the dead, because that's heretical to the Hive. So that was pretty cool as well. The raid, the raid. That was the second raid I completed. I completed the Dark Below raid first, then that raid. I didn't do much raids in my time playing the game. But, boy oh boy, it's a mixed bag. I had some of my best moments doing that raid. Obviously, the highest highs of raids. I don't play much raids these in recent time. But boy, I had some lows. And if you've ever played the Destiny 2 or Destiny 1 King's Fall, you'll know what those encounters are that I... Let's just say they're not fun. Anyway, Oryx being giant massive in that raid, very cool. The weapons, even cooler. They're made out of bone. Like, who thought that? It's like, yes, we have to make these really cool weapons. We've used metal, we've added wood to our weapons sometimes, and so on. Oh yeah, remember that one time we did Dark Below, we had those bone weapons? Should we just do that, but just make them pointier? And they were like, yes. And I love it all more for that. The armor is also really cool. Probably my favorite raid armor, besides the Crow's End armor, because, well, especially the one from the later update where they added ornaments to them, which made them very, very, very cool. But yes, that whole shabockle, and that's not even getting on top of, in the Dreadnought, there was also optional public events that you could do, where you could put a little thing in, where go to this room, and it'll activate this public event, depending on what tribute you put in, is the difficulty and what reward you'd get, and also it will change weekly, which is sort of what they kind of tried to do with yeah, that one. And also to add to that, they also had great strikes, they had great PvP maps, and altogether, it really just changed what Destiny was to be Destiny in a way that was mostly positive. And now we're moving on to. Oh, I'm not looking forward to this editing. It's gonna be a shite show. Okay. Now, on to honorable mentions. Them being. Now, to honorable mentions, and I've got a list here, being the Season of the Forge, which was the first ever season, far as I'm aware of, where they added forges, which was cool, but ended up being forgotten, and literally the vendor they added for that became just a transmog vendor. And if you don't like transmog, you probably don't know much about her, or you dislike her, so there's that. There's also Forsaken, who would forget. It's also when this happened. Still can't get over it. Beyond Light, definitely wasn't high on the list, but I enjoyed Beyond Light when it first came out. So I think it's my longest playlist for Destiny on my channel, so there's that. Also, Frozen Winds, really annoying. Then there is Beyond Light. I just said that one. I mean Lightfall, which Lightfall, again, was alright. It was kind of in the category as Beyond Dark Below and the and Ninth Place, but it was the story's poo poo, or at least the story was explained in a poo poo sense. So it was below that, probably would have been in 11th place if it was a top 11. So there was also Rise of Iron from the last DLC for Destiny 2. That probably also would have been 11th place if it was a top 11, because it did everything right but didn't do anything really wrong. So it's kind of same boat. It was kind of tallying between Beyond, Dark Below, and Rise of Iron, but I chose Dark Below because it's more meaningful for me. Season of the Splicer, we get a full introduction to Mithrax, who we had seen previously in Vanilla Destiny's launch, Destiny 2's launch, but he was very different looking and you didn't have any dialogue with him. So it was cool to see that he had a daughter and that he has this House of Light, which is great because then we have Fallen Friends. And the last is Season. And now those were the honorable mentions. Now, I also wanted to have a little segment here, which is the honorable dismention. Mention being one. There is so many seasons, updates, and DLCs they could be mentioned here. But in my head, the absolute low of them is Shadowkeep. Now, this may be a bit harsh for some people, but I don't like Shadowkeep. Sure, it's kind of progressed the idea of dungeons, which I do like dungeons. It had an okay raid. It was cool going to Black Garden, but the story was absolute poo-poo besides having the darkness. That was cool. But everything else was poo-poo. You literally had to do bounties for the story. Basically, there's a whole segment where you just had to go around and do glorified bounties for the story. And then most of the enemies you fight are just soulless copies of what the originals were. Like Gaul, Crota. Like, they made this big thing like your enemies would come back to haunt you. And they're the exact same with no dialogue to haunt you at all. They're just, you're fighting them again. So that kind of was a turd on the cake, but it was okay as well. Like the moon, again, it's just a revamped location just with a big red tower. And it also started one of the trends that I really don't like, or at least popularized it, where they turned story missions into strikes. I don't like it. Keep strikes and missions separate. If you want to make a mission replayable, make it a pinnacle mission. Don't make it into a strike where it's like you're doing the exact same thing as you did before, but slightly harder and with 3 people. That is unoriginal. I like strikes that have their own stakes and they're self-contained, or could be either self-contained or be high stakes, but don't have to be necessarily connected to the main story. When you basically take the story and put it into a strike, you're basically locking that part of the story in an infinite loop that I just don't like. I also really don't like the Scarlet Keep strike because it's just boring. It's like by far when I go on the playlist, it's the one I get the most. It's stupid. I don't like it. And it's like I said, it's a trend that has been going on for ages. It happened in Beyond Light. I think it happened in Witch Queen, and it definitely happened in Lightfall. I don't like it. Please stop doing it. Now, with my little rant over, let's move on to number... Ooh, I went on a little rant there. Ooh. 3, 2, 1. On to number 1, being Witch Queen. Which, to be fair, if you were surprised that I would put Taken King in second, you probably wouldn't be surprised that Witch Queen was in first. Witch Queen just is better. It just feels like the more improved version of the Taken King in my eyes, for the lack of a better word. The world is interesting. It's basically the Hive of Join the Light. So you get to see their interpretation of the light with their philosophies and all that. So basically, they have a giant white tower that basically has cast out all these swamps that used to be where the darkness was, but there was also a pyramid ship. I'll get into that later. What's it called? Those buildings are so cool. They're basically just hive buildings, but basically quartz. Which, just saying that doesn't sound great, but it's really a spectacle when you first go there, and these roses, these white buildings that just tower and tower above. It's just so cool, and then just the swamps. It's just so cool. Also, out of all, back to my previous say, but out of all the reused missions that have become strikes, these the ones they use for this one. I kind of like them. They're the least punishing of the lot, if that's the best word to say it. The least guilty of it, in my opinion. They still add things, and also for the light blade, it's been maybe a rip on the dark blade. And the mission that you do for the other strike, that I can't remember the name, was technically an exotic mission. So technically, you're doing the strike. And also with the light blade mission, that was never a mission. It was a strike. You literally leave. You don't do a story mission for that. It's literally just a strike anyway. So there's that as well. Now, onto the pyramid ship that I mentioned earlier, which is the raid. I've never completed it, but I've heard very good things. Volk, complete badass, really good music. Also, there's the whole fact you also get to explore another pyramid ship, but it's also slightly different in the sense that you can tell it's a different owner. Because you can tell the moon one, in hindsight, is Nezrax. And you could also tell in Lightfall, when you go into the Witnesses ship, it's definitely the Witnesses ship. And same here, we could definitely tell this is Rolk's ship, which is really cool. Also, I really like that you just get a post-raid mission, where once the world's first raid was completed, there was a mission that was added, where it's like a pinnacle loot. It's just a pinnacle loot mission. But it was still cool because you always get to kind of explore the place and kind of get to thing. And also, you can get the raid ghost shell from just doing that. Sure, it takes a bit longer, but you can do that, which is pretty cool. Now, the reason why this is simply above the Taken King is Seraphine has a bit of more story behind her. While Oryx was foreshadowed in the main story of Destiny 1 and in Dark Below, Seraphine has been teased since the launch of Destiny 2. And the difference between Destiny 1's launch to Taken King and Destiny 2's launch to the Witch Queen is one was roughly a year gap, and one was like 4 to 5 years. I think 4 years, if I remember correctly. Which is just a lot more time just to get more stories in her. And also, not to mention, there's also a couple of seasons where she was also the main institute, being also the one before Witch Queen, where you literally talked to her, which I believe was season of. I don't remember. It's forget the name of the story. Is not that great, but you get to talk with her, and also she just gives Aldrin his memories back, which is that as well. But I'm not talking about that season. But yeah, she's just much more interesting to listen to about her lore. And I'll always have a place for Oryx in my heart. Yeah, with the Seraphine just takes the better villain basically. Now, with that further ado, what do you think? Do you think my list is that valid, or do you think that some things should be in different places, or some things that are not even on this list should be on this list? I'd like to know. Anyway, goodbye for now. Bye. Oh, it's done. It's done. Now it's done. what it's just. Ugh. Ugh.
Why is Milo so mean to Powder? It's clear that she is young and does mess up sometimes. Milo really just never lets up. It's cruel. But in Arcane, even the coolest characters demonstrate to us that there's a vulnerability behind it's the weakest link. It's really a middle child. It's pretty far before the elves, but no one pays any attention to him because of the youngest. Everything he says is either a ghost or noise for the sake of noise, just so people won't ignore him. You see him doing this in other ways too, literally being just so people pay any attention to him. Even the graffiti is his plea to be noticed, to leave a mark to be seen. Arcane explores this theme of inferiority with all of his Undercity characters, but with Milo, it's a real fear of annihilation. He feels he's close to basically not mattering at all to the world, not exist. He comes from this place where people have a hard time not to survive but only make themselves. He's not good enough, not smart enough, strong. He does die young. Some of his fears come true, except ironically, it's his desperate, noisy, annoying pleas for relevance and importance that win him life beyond the days. So he really does get what he wants in the end. He leaves his mark, even if it's not how he envisioned it or how he ever would have wanted it. Why is he? Child of celestial Targonian expecting justice, obsessed with punishing evildoers and upholding laws and order. Pursuit of this, she has spent centuries attempting to purify herself of human weaknesses and fully ascend this aspect. Fortunately, set point of gun, shoot and execute people jail what he actually says. No surprise that Kale is very much the patron angel of the Good. So yeah, with some of the hints in the story that she and Morgana might be hiding major staff the stern which tries to exactly the same points he made she has a idea in that she changes her character design as she levels up because
It's totally working though. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Design Realms and Walker Shop Studio. We got a hot off the press for 2024 League of Legends cinematic trailer. So let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer first. I'll try not to talk over too much. Let's go back down some of the sections that we really liked. Design, chats. So as always, let's keep the intro short and check out the 24 cinematic trailer. Still here. Already hitting us with that sweet slow mo. Really great visuals already and great scenics. Their scenics are always just so good. That's awesome. The subtle bullet time is nice. It's not overwhelming. Oh, nice fast editing. I feel like I'm missing a lot. It's just so detailed. That's awesome. Great flame effects. Transition. Dang, that's cool. They're so good at storytelling. Drawing my lines. Same choice of going with almost all music and not as much sound effects. It's totally working though. Sweet. We're going too hard with any of the wounds or blood. It's fine. I wonder if we'll have any mind blowing shots like that hand on the rock from the last trailer we watched. Man, he looks great too. Sweet. So dynamic. That's awesome. That's awesome. Wow, and another great trailer. Gosh, man. As always, League of Legends just killing it. All right, I mean, just another.
Right. 3, 2, 1. On to number 4, which is House of Wolves. House of Wolves is the second DLC for Destiny 1, and it introduced many great things that we would see later on in the Destiny series. But the real reason why it's this high on the list, and it's for a very much personal reason, is Prison of Elders. I've said previously in one of the previous ones for the April update that that Prison of Elders pretty much carried that one. Yeah, it's the same. This one pretty much carried this one as well. The story with Skolos is very good. It's the first time we actually get a proper villain in the story. Because before, in the main story, it was this, and in Beyond, like Dark Below, it's Crota in crystal form, and you also fight him in the main raid for that DLC. But it's not the same to have a villain that you're pretty much just chasing after during the whole DLC, which is just great. It gives it a different theme, gives it elevation. His whole goal to unite all the Fallen, which could be really bad for humanity, is also pretty good. It's also pretty self-contained, which is nothing wrong with that. But like I said, the Prison of Elders, I like it, and there's no other way I can really describe it. It's basically a PvE mode where you just go into different rooms and you do different activities, whether it's like defusing bombs, killing enemies. It can vary. And then at the very end, you go into one of the rooms you went in previously, which have one enemy type boss in it. So there's one Fallen boss, one Cabal boss, one Hive boss, and one Vex boss. And if you do the very hard version, you also get to fight Skolos again, because in the end of the story, you capture him. And unlike the previous 2 raids beforehand, you can get one of 3 exotics from that. 2 of them are in Destiny 2, which is the Queenbreaker Bow and the Lord of Wolves. And then there's Dreg's Promise, which never got released in Destiny 2. And that sucks for me, because that's the one I got. That's the one I did when I completed it and I got any of the exotics. It was the Dreg's Promise. And that, by default, made it my favourite. So the fact that it's never been re-released in Destiny 2, despite the other 2 being so, sucks. I really do want it back. But there are other sidearms now that kind of do the same job, so if they would add it, it would have to be different in some way. But it would be cool. Also, a little fun side fact as well is Trials of Osiris is also added just during this DLC. So whether you like that or not, that was thanks to this DLC. So there you go. Now moving on to I'm so triggered. Right. Oompa, loompa, oompa dee doo. I'm gonna have a migraine too. Okay. With the third spot being, with number 3 being the third spot being, no, with number 3, with the third or the third stop. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Number 3, with the third one being the Season of the Haunted, which there's no reason why. I just think it slaps. It's just really, really good for a seasonal story. In fact, the best, in my opinion. You get a new activity. You get a new social, not social zone, but you get a new like zone where you can look around. You can not have to be in a mission to be there. Sure, the main reason why you go there is to do the events. That's part of the season. But you can also look around and go around the Leviathan, which is previously a raid before. You can see how much it's changed since that was last in the game, and now. Then, which it changed a lot. It was pristine and clean, and now it's. I think they left the plants growing a little bit. As a fun little fact, when the Leviathan and all Destiny 1's Destiny 2 stuff, the original stuff, before they altered it, that has been out the game now longer than that stuff was in the game. Yeah. And I still believe that the campaign for Destiny 2 thing should be there, but that's not part of this one. But it was cool. Like I said, the story is great. It's probably the best, in my opinion. You can argue if there's one better, but personally, I think it just works with Alduin, Zavala, and Keitel having their own personal problems that come back with a certain entity, whether it's the Crow with Alduin, Zavala with his wife, and Keitel with Gol. And if the season was still a part of the game, I would recommend you play it. It's not. If you want to watch it, I'd recommend that as well. But the final cutscene was great. The story remained consistently good. I was able to get through it without feeling any kind of burnout. The scythes were pretty cool, and the dungeon was also pretty cool too. So yeah, again, it did everything amazingly, and did very little wrong in my opinion. So with that, on to is he European or gay? Okay. On to number 2, which is The Taken King, the third DLC for Destiny 1. And by far, up until late the next 3, 2, 1. So number 2, which is The Taken King, the third DLC for Destiny 1, and up until the number 1 place, is probably the best DLC, which to some people won't surprise, and to others might, because there might be some niche in some other ones. But this thing just does so many things right. It does world building. It adds, if you want to count the taking a new race, it adds a new race, or if you want to call them variation then. It connects story plots from the previous 2 and DLCs and the story from the original game of how the Shrine to Oryx, there's a secondary there's an optional mission in the main camp. Nope. There's an optional mission during Vanilla Destiny 1 where you go to the Shrine of Oryx, where your ghost references this king or god. The Taken King is also a hive god. So there's that reference there. And it also connects to Dark Below, because the whole reason Oryx is here is you killed his son, Crota, in the Dark Below. So that's kind of on us. We did kind of kill this guy's son. Now we saw him in this angry rampage in our solar system, so that was pretty cool. The raid was probably my favorite raid that's ever been out. Though I definitely had my worst moments in raiding ever in there. If you played either the Destiny 1 version or the Destiny 2 version, you'll know which encounters I'm talking about. There was also the Court of Oryx, which was this public event thing where you could choose the public event and how hard it would be for different rewards, which was very, very cool. And the music, the music was very great. Especially, obviously, Oryx's music, where it's the raid version or the story version. Because that's right, you fight him in the end of the story and you fight him in his own raid. Because he has to do something better than Crota. So yeah, I personally just love it, and whether you like it or not, you can't argue that it definitely did some new changes for Destiny 1 that put him ultimately on a better path for however long you want to say it went on for. And I would put this in first place if I hadn't have to begrudgingly say that what the first place is just better. So with further ado, let's move on to move around. I just get funky. Right. 3, 2, 1. On to honorable mentions, which I have an book here. Yes, it does say I'm sorry I'm late because I was gaming. I just hit the mic. Sorry. But there's an honorable mentions list here, and I shall read them out because I can't remember. So, the list is not limited to these, but these are the ones I'm going to read out. Which is Season of the Forge, which was the first season in Destiny. And it set up this whole seasonal thing, which is very worse, kept the story going for a while. I am kind of glad they are changing the story up after Final Shape, because season's getting quite boring, but we'll have to see how they do that. Then Forsaken, obviously, very big expansion, very good story, but and this is a personal reason why it's not on the list, I'm deeply saddened by this. But hey, at least he might come back permanently in the next DLC. Maybe. Then there is Beyond Light. Similar to the first two or first couple of placements in this list, is it did everything, it was great, it was fine, and did nothing really wrong, but it did a couple of things wrong, Crucible wise, or the story being kind of a bit cringy here and there. But besides than that, it was fine, but it just didn't really make the list. If it was a top 11 list, then it would have been there. Same with Rise of Iron. It would have been, if it was a top 11 list, it would have been 11th place. Did nothing wrong. I actually really liked the story, loved the Iron Lord setting, loved the Fallen aesthetic. But it would have been 11th place. I'm not going to say anything about that. Anyway, and the last in this list is Season of the Spicer, where we got introduced to Mithrax. Mithrax being this really cool Fallen guy who's our friend. And if you want to look more into that, you can Google it. But he looks really cool for a Fallen. So you could say whatever you want. And also, while I'm here, I want to have one dishonorable mention, and that would be Shadowkeep. Out of everything Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 produced, I really hate Shadowkeep. Literally, a part of the story is just bounties. And bounties are okay. They're optional, though. I don't want to go through the story by doing bounties. And not to mention, the story was meh, apart from the pyramid part. And all the enemies you fight are basically just reskins of people you've already fought with no soul. Makes sense for the low enemies like thralls, whatever. But for the bosses that might be these big imposing people from your past that are meant to haunt you, they don't. They're just soulless copies who just may as well be just given different names and just be like this person, but he looks really close to this guy. It just doesn't work. And don't even get me started on the trend it started with the fucking strikes being the missions in the story then become strikes. It's done it in every single DLC since. It did it with fucking Beyond Light, it did it with Witch Queen, and it's done it with what's called Lightfall. I'm stuttering because of how much I don't like it. But there is a couple of examples in that I said there that I can kind of look the other way to, and I'll get to that later. But it set up trends that I don't like. It had basically a huge portion of it just basically bounties. And there was basically no haunting in it. The moon was great, but again, it's a reused asset with a massive fucking red tower, which is whatever. And yeah, but the pyramid ship was the cherry on this very suspiciously brown cake, and it's not chocolate. Anyway, without that rant, now with that rant out of the way, let's move on to number. Okay. 3, 2, 1. 1. Which this probably won't surprise anyone. If it was called having taken King in second place did surprise someone, it probably won't surprise you that Witch Queen was number 1. In my opinion, is called I can't argue with the fact that even though it's like the Clarkson style where it's like I like this, this is good, but I like this. I'd like Witch Queen is good, and it's really good, and it's probably and it is better, but I like Taken King. But I had to be fair and put Witch Queen in the number 1. It just does so many things right. The world is amazing, the raid's amazing, though I never completed it. The activities are great, the story is great, the villain, who is Seraphine, is great. She's had way more longer to also have an actual story behind her, because between when Oryx was first like kind of teased, which was back in Destiny 1's vanilla campaign, and to Taken King was only probably about like 1 year. While when Seraphine was teased back in the vanilla of Destiny 2's campaign to Witch Queen, that's roughly like 3 to 4 years, if not more, time where she's been villains in seasons. She was behind what happened in Shadowkeep. Still hate Shadowkeep. Let's not move on from that. But all that is great. And come to the strikes. Even though the strikes are missions that have become strikes, the Light Blade strike technically was already a strike, just you do it in the story. And the mission, the other strike, it was a mission in an exotic quest thing, so I don't really care. It's not really part of the story. And they changed most of the dialogue in that one anyway, so it's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. There's just so much good things that DLC that I just can't ignore. They just is better than Taken King, though how much it hurts. Because in my heart, there'll always be Oryx, but unfortunately, Seraphine is the better of the villains when it comes to those two. Still, the jury's still out there on the third sister being Zero Wrath, but we'll still have to wait for that one. If it's not going to be talked about in final shape, then God knows when. Anyway, if you agreed with these, let me know. But I'm more interested if you think this list should be in a different order, or if you think there's some things that in this that shouldn't be in this list, or if you have things that aren't in this list that should be in this list. Please let me know in the comments below. I would like to know. Anyway, if you like this video, bye for now. Bye. It's over. I had to do that again, but it's over. It's over. It's so good for it to be over, because now I can do the editing and shit. As a please don't tell me. Hello. I didn't realize I was streaming. I've been streaming for the last hour? Oh, fuck. Oh, no. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, come on. This is just. Can't write this shit. And this is why you don't use the same streaming software that you do with recording, because I was recording a video the entire time. Yeah, and then I was about to start editing, and now I'm here. Why? Also, people have been watching. Not for a very long time, but it's the wire that's. Where's the what? Oh, it's here. God's sake. Just why? Oh, we're in the dark now. Oh, just why? Why do I have to be so idiotic sometimes? I just feel like a massive idiot. Seeing myself in my own stream and it's look like a bloody idiot. I look how I feel. I just. I'm currently just changing the thumbnail so it's something a bit more. It's not just a Destiny 1, but I'm just not sure that this is. I just don't get it. I'm just a big dum dum. And if anyone's like just saying, hey, you're streaming, you big idiot. Yeah, I can't see it because I haven't set the chat. I just. I feel like I was a big enough idiot earlier when I forgot to actually click record. But evidently, when I thought I just missed clicking record, no, I didn't do that. I just fucking started the stream. So this is a very different type of stream that I would normally do. I've just taken a quick shot out of one of the recordings I just did with the camera, which is up there. I think it's funny, but at the same time, it's just a wow, just a wow. Um. And here as I was just drinking my drink, thinking things would just be peachy, but nope. Clearly, me and my big brain dum dum have other plans. Oh, so the editing, like the actual like thumbnail I'm making here, like the cropping is poo poo. Absolute poo poo. My big brain dum dum. I'm not sure if I even want to play a game at this point. That's just how just fucking done I am. Well, no, I'm definitely not ending the video now. That's for sure. Alright. May as well start game up. Not sure what I'm gonna fucking play, but uh, what do I want to play? You know what? I'll do some Need for Speed. uh, it's not normally how I would do streams, but
Press the Y button for
it's how I'm doing it now.
is enabled when you're in a party. Press the right stick to form a party.
So why is that person talking? Just why? It's taking its time to load. Okay. Am I more ginger than ever? How you doing? Well, apart from the fact that I found out that while I was recording a video, I was streaming it. So that's why this stream's like about an hour and 30 minutes long, because I was just recording. And I only just found out that I've been streaming this entire time. So that's how I'm doing. I'm very improvised stream right here because I wasn't planning on streaming today. So I'm just going with it at this point. Yeah, but it has been a hot minute.
So, you guys in trouble?
Dex, thanks for delivering the car, man. You were fast.
Oh,
Is it serious?
it's crashed.
Right now, I gotta see a woman about a laptop. If she's as good with tech as she says, you'll hear all about it.
Hmm. Right. So where do I need to go? I need to go down here, don't I? Yeah. I have a way better car than this. I don't know why I'm using this car. So I might just do that. And when I get to that race, I'm just going to switch to that car. As for the record, this is apple juice. Ow. Try no brakes challenge. A long way to drive. Good thing they're video game people. My face is probably just white as well. So I might need to like quickly fix that again. Completely improvised stream. Yes, I feel like I took a wrong turn, but what are you gonna do? They see me rolling, because I'm probably driving into them. A menace. A menace. Wow, I don't think I even need a car for this race. This thing just gives me one. But just to be safe, I'm just going to... There we go. Switch into my really high level car. Ugh.
What are you doing here?
I need your help.
Well, I don't need this kind of heat. Every cop in the city is looking for you.
That's because we got a chance to take him down. We got a laptop full of evidence that will put Mercer away for decades.
I forgot how dated this game is.
Is that all? Hold on. I just sent you a package. Put your phone near the laptop and it should have it unlocked in a couple of minutes.
Wow. Thanks.
Just be sure to make this stick. If you can take down those cops, you'll be doing us all a favor. Now get out of here.
Alright, I'm just gonna skip that because I thought this was a different mission.
I'm on my way back to you. Should be there soon.
Something's happening. Looks like it's
Right.
up. We're in. The password screen is gone.
Now I got the rear. If I was a menace on the road before,
Well, not me.
I'm now definitely a menace.
To the press and evidence. Those TV news people are gonna love this.
Hold on. What's this? It says it's a program running called PD Hardware Tracker. Is that one of yours?
I don't know. I don't think so.
All units 313, we have a location for the suspects in the Lieutenant Mercer assault. Proceed to North Cloud Bank immediately.
You hear that?
They're tracking the laptop.
Oh, we gotta move. Leave it here.
No, change of plan. We hit the road with the laptop and buy enough time to email the files to the press. Meet us at the old mall.
Okay.
All units, suspect vehicle is a red Porsche heading south from Cloud Bank into Edgewood Valley. Copy, Control, taking up pursuit. Copy that, Control. Joining pursuit. Jack,
Jesus
Warren, that you
Christ, this is the type of speed where cars just start spawning in front of you.
pulling an extra ship just to take down these animals.
can to stop these cops from running us off the road.
I'm on it. Lucas, how's it looking?
Yep, on it.
Got an email address for the news people. Now I just gotta find some files that implicate Mercer.
Hurry it up!
We struck gold! Inbound records, cars, dates, registration, IDs, fine. Mercer's name is all over them.
Send it!
Dragging the whole folder.
Heading westbound through Edgewood Valley.
Come on.
This car was built to last. It can take a few bruises. Careful! Talk to me, Luca!
It's uploading. Watch the road.
Heading westbound approaching Fort Callahan. QSL now westbound through Fort
Can
Callahan.
you,
Those cops ain't hardly heard us. Yet.
go? Come on.
Lucas, nearly there.
For God's sake, they take a different turn. How am I supposed to help you if you're driving unpredictably?
Where are you? We can't do this on our own.
4221, what's your QTH now? Heading northbound through Fort
Just buy
Callahan.
us time.
Well, that's not good.
How long does it take to add an attachment? The signal's not great, okay?
Is she max revving that car, by the way?
It's on 99%.
Subject didn't see our
Come on. That is just fine dirty now.
heading northbound approaching Rockville.
Lucas,
Now northbound
still on 99%.
Come on.
Not helping.
Well, I thought it was helping. What do you mean? Crashing to my own teammate.
with traffic.
As my car is in a bad shape.
Now heading northbound approaching the crack.
Oh, my car.
Approaching the Kraken Stone Quarry.
I'm not just driving really slow and hoping the cops don't really do much damage.
We did it! Now get rid of that laptop so they can't track us. Woo! Yeah!
Oh,
Got it. Now take us home.
and now that cop is that cop is fucked. So like, imagine like this is a new game. It's not. I've already completed it like several times. Mm. Money, money, money. I like money.
Watch yourself out there, okay?
Do. I wish these things would learn a little faster.
Yo, we got Mercer. Or the cars, at least. Come meet us and I'll fill you in.
We're now breaking the law.
I know you probably got other things on your mind right now, but if
You
you
know
want
what?
to change your pace, I'm testing out some potential circuits for next year's showdown.
I just crashed some. Oop, I'm still crashing in places.
Through it. Hope to see you there.
Cool. I never do any of Dex missions after like the first time completing them. Alright, so we're going to nighttime, that's fun. I forget how far I am actually in the story.
That was close. We just had to lose some cops. You good?
Cop free.
Let's go. The The trucks we were looking for, one of them got spotted headed to the docks. Mercer's gotta be shipping the cars out of the city.
So, what's the plan?
We can't call the police. Mercer's asshats are everywhere.
There's gotta be some honest cops left in this city.
After what we've been through, I bet that number's pretty small.
Small's all we need. We just need some way of separating the good from the bad. Easiest way to find out. Bring them all.
You serious?
You want to be a legend, right?
Okay, rookie. You're on. I'm putting out a message to all the crews, the league, everyone. Wherever they are, raise hell and drag as many cops to Port Murphy as they can.
What about us?
We're heading to Eden Shores. We got our own shit to stir up.
Huh. And that is? I don't remember. I wish it would be a bit more forthcoming or faster.
I think it's time I get back behind the wheel.
Not with me in the car, you don't.
Love you too.
Bro, you're rusty AF.
You heard of muscle memory?
What if your muscles got dementia?
Hey, Annie can ride with me.
Cool.
Best news I've heard all night.
Right. Okay, there's names there.
Throw right. We're here.
Are these the people that I pissed off before? Right, we're now in a race. Cool.
Police station up ahead on the right.
If we want their attention, we should start early.
Just gotta make sure they can't ignore us.
Let's go then.
Let's go cause some chaos.
Yeah, my cars could be not even in the same league as theirs.
Someone give me confirmation on a bunch of HVTs spotted in Eden Shores. Want confirmation? Listen to that. Shit. Copy. Sending units.
You guys hear that? They're coming. Okay, Rivera. This might actually be fun.
Assholes are running laps outside the station. Making our approach. Let's cut them off.
That's it. Got 'em. Let's leave the suckers where we want.
Okay, now time to leave them in the dust.
I am suing the city.
Target's headed southbound. We're in the chase.
Well, that was a waste of everyone's time.
Can we never catch this?
And away we go again.
I'm going like 200 miles an hour. I don't think I'm supposed to have a car at this stage of the game.
Meaning to us. How was that jail time?
Been a while since I was in a cell. I don't plan on going back.
Really, really sorry about that.
You're forgetting. For now. How many cops are there in this town?
Warp speed, what was that?
Visual of the car
140 miles per hour. I thought I've at least gone that fast before.
Ditch the roadblocks for us?
Don't think she likes me after I just refused to hand over that laptop.
Hey,
Huh.
we gave it back, didn't we?
Man, that is true. We need to give it back. It's crashing into everyone. I'm still gonna win this race. Because I'm already halfway through the race, which is great. Ooh. Ooh, ow.
Not any easier back here, that's for sure.
Right.
Who wants to close up with the rocket? Ah, I like you, Rivera.
I like how she's acting that like this is the first time we've seen them.
War's over. It's time to leave.
Okay.
Suspects are leaving the launch site. West exit.
Again?
Control eyes on the front.
It's like we're trying to lead them somewhere.
Previous suspects have been located and we're taking up pursuit again.
but I keep losing them because I'm so fast.
I can do this all night. Don't these cops have anything better to do?
Nope.
Control suspect vehicles located.
Oh,
Need to get the chopper up in the air. Can we make that happen?
I think we got enough cops this chase. Time we lead them to the cars.
Control.
okay. Okay. Hello.
Something else. Forget the chase. This is big.
Oh, come on, I just got the health back.
Copy.
You two better pray those cars are still there. Let's all put our feet down and we won't be disappointed.
Just laid eyes on our target again. Hey, why don't you send up one of them flying A taking this to a secure channel? They know about the shipment. Bastards were leading us here all along.
Huh.
Shit. Back.
We're coming up on where the structure spotted. This is it. Watch yourselves.
Okay. Someone's gonna be coming out of
No way.
a BMW.
No way now. We did it.
What the hell have we stumbled on here?
Nothing good.
We found one of the task force trying to swim out of here. He's saying Lieutenant Mercer's still on site.
Where?
There he is.
These cops ain't gonna catch him in that thing.
Maybe not, but we can. Go.
Because we have a gear. Oh, I don't feel like we're gonna do that much damage to him though.
I might have known you two shits were behind this.
We couldn't have you leaving without a send-off.
I'm warning you, drop it.
I don't
Oh,
think
you
so.
little.
We've got the cars. Now we're getting you. You think you can stop him? Officer Torres. That's the plan. You got any objections?
Now you listen to me. He's dangerous. So if you take him out, don't confront him. Leave that to me.
Can we trust her?
You know any other
Come
cops
on.
Exactly. We're getting too far away.
Yeah, because he's being a little bitch. Oh, you. Ah.
Get closer. We're gonna lose him.
Shut up.
Before you say it, no. We're not gonna stop chasing.
I know, just...
For God's sake. I'm too fast.
We haven't put a scratch on that thing yet.
I know, because he keeps turning like that as soon as I get some speed. Oh, you. Come on. Yes.
You punks are gonna get what's coming.
Fuck you.
What's the latest on the chopper? Out of action. Electrical fault. You know, they say the pilot's in with Frank. Add it to the list.
And how many hits does it take?
I'm not gonna warn you again. Back off!
No. Get out of that car.
You did good back there,
I
guys.
did no damage. What the fuck?
Cars are going back where they belong.
Can we do this some other time?
Tonight was the type of stunt that gets someone in the league. What do you think?
She needs her own car, and a good one. Then I suppose they can join.
Okay, that was good.
That's dope, guys. Talk later, okay?
Come on.
Come on, finish him off.
That was a little bit more than finishing off. I saw him flying. He was not going like that. He was cartwheeling. I don't remember if he gets killed here.
Perfect timing. I need to get out of here fast. You? Torres? Ava? If they take me in, things could go real bad. For both of us.
Yeah, that's what she kills her.
I agree.
Yep. I'm doing it for God's sake. Night ended for Frank forever. Breaking the law completed. Right. Waffle news.
Today, police.
This is the Volvo joke one. Yeah, this is the Volvo joke. Can I skip it? Yep.
This is what you're giving me?
Thanks for playing. Cool. I've been doing that story for they have to left the story there for so long on this account.
The league dropped off a little thank you for helping get the cars back. Can't wait to see a real racer driving that classic again.
Okay. I'm now gonna end this stream that I didn't even plan on doing. Right, so bye and